Hey class, it's me, your professor Anoop Desai, here with your brief Monday lecture. I'm going to give you a brief breakdown on the movies and the article that I want you to read and watch, and then we're going to be discussing them on Friday. I'll also be posting some questions and notes on the Blackboard, so please give that a look. Okay, so this week it's all about physical geography, the natural environment that is around us. That's the forests, the deserts, the grasslands, the coastal waterways, uh, the places that are essential for all life on Earth, right? To start the viewing process, I wanted to give you guys a movie that you can find on Netflix. Not a movie, a documentary called Our Planet. And the very first episode, they take you through a journey across the planet, going through all these different temperate and environmental zones. I put like 10 questions there on the document for you to answer and to be able to follow through while you watch the movies, while you watch the documentaries, movies, whatever they may be. I put these questions there not to trick you, but to make sure that you're following through with what the narrator is saying. Because sometimes he'll say something that's brief, but it could also be very profound, right? And I want you to just pay attention to the details, right? The devils are in the details. And so if we're talking about animals migrating, and when they make it to certain parts of the environment where it might be dangerous for them, and like say the woodlands, for example, we can also make an inference then that if those woodlands were to disappear, then these animals and their migration patterns will be affected. Now, that's not something that the narrator is saying. That's something that I want you to be able to pick up on by paying just deep, close attention, right, to what's exactly happening. What are these animals going through? What are these natural processes that are happening within the earth as the seasons change, right? The environment changes, and then all of us that are reliant upon that environment have to adapt as well. That's something Darwin would always talk about. The number one important trait in terms of evolution wasn't just strength, like physical strength, it's about adaptability, right? Can you adapt to the surroundings and what's happening around you? So I put these questions there. I want you to follow along with these questions. If I was you, I would read these questions first and foremost. That way, as you watch these documentaries and you hear a certain keyword, you might remember, oh yeah, that's important for me to know. And I'd also recommend, having a little bit of a notebook near you. So while you are watching these docs, you can take important notes. I told you earlier, it's about mindfulness. If you watch these documentaries while you're on your phone and texting, you're going to be missing valuable knowledge. Right? What separates you, a college student viewing these documentaries, and a high school student viewing these documentaries, is as the college student, you should be able to start making inferences and thinking, hey, what does this lead to? And why is this extra important? They're not going to spoon feed everything to you. It's up to you to discover, right? So some of the questions from Our Planet will be, where is 90% of the life in the oceans found? In the last 50 years, how much has wildlife populations decreased? What brings these nutrients from the bottom of the oceans to the top? Right? Each of these have specific answers that are mentioned briefly in the documentary. Some of these answers you could also just find on Google yourself. My goal is through watching these documentaries, you're going to want to do further research yourself. Right? So Our Planet is one of them. It's about 50 minutes, that first episode. The second video that I want you to watch is called How Wolves Changed the Rivers. And this is an example of how one species can impact all the other species around them and impact the actual geography. Rivers in Yellowstone National Park became bigger, stronger, with more water after the wolves were there. So how did wolves, one animal, impact the entire national park of Yellowstone? Right? Yellowstone actually takes up 4 states, as in 4 states: Idaho, Oregon, Montana. I'm missing another one. But yeah, they released 15 wolves and the environment changed within a year. right? I told you in the syllabus, one of the main things in this class is I want you to see and understand how interconnected this whole world is. And this brief 5-minute YouTube video will show you exactly how interconnected the world is. And this knowledge that you'll take about wolves and Yellowstone, I want you also to start applying to humans and our particular environment, or even other small animals. There was an animal that they built a highway in Denmark. In the process of building this highway in Denmark, one mouse that was essential to the environment wasn't able to cross this bridge. And so on one side of the highway, you had all these dead trees. And on the other side, everything was normal. This mouse was essential to eating a certain bug. And this bug, because the predators weren't there anymore, were able to consume some of these trees. Everything is linked. And in fact, now on highways, they're starting to build bridges over the highways so animals can cross. I'll put a picture of that for you guys as well. So that's the second video. It's just a 5-minute video, but still 5 questions from that video. And in this 5-minute video, you can find so much wisdom, right? Like perfect, like really interesting talking points regarding geography and the world around us. Now the last 2 videos, these are more documentary style movies, and they're related, right? One is called Chasing Ice, and the other one is called Chasing Coral. It is about the disappearance of ice that has been happening over the past century and the disappearance of coral reefs also over the past century. I didn't want to dive too much into global warming now and how things are changing, but I figured these 2 videos are going to show you other aspects of the world. Our planet definitely also shows the polar ice caps and the grasslands and the coastal seas, but this will take a further emphasis on the oceans and the ice, because the oceans and the ice are about 75% of all the space on Earth. And so it's important we remember that without them, we're not here, right? If the ice levels rise, many cities on the coastal fringes of countries are going to disappear, right? Without coral reefs, you're going to see impacts on businesses and beach communities, right? They rely on coral reefs. I think it's 500 million people in the world rely on their economy and their diets on coral reefs. And so this will start to get you an idea of not only the nature of the earth, but how it's changing. And that's really my goal for this first lesson, that you start to see all these different images and geographic areas, environmental spots and animals, and you start to realize just how diverse our world is and how interconnected our world is, and now how things are changing in our world. If you could put those 3 things together and you watch these 4 documentaries, we're going to be on a much better path and a great path to start the class off. Underneath these questions for these 4 videos, I have a simple reading I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go through the physical geography articles in Wikipedia. Wikipedia, some of your professors will tell you, is not a respectable source. I disagree with them. I think it is actually a very fine source to get an introductory idea. But it's up to you as students to check the footnotes and make sure some of the readings that you're getting from Wikipedia are sourced properly. If they're sourced properly, you can trust them. And it'll start to give you a good basic idea of where we are and what physical geography is, right? And then next week, we'll be able to move on to human geography in a much better form because we'll have a slight foundation of the physical geography. The other thing I would like you to do, now this is away from physical geography, but it's just to get you started on researching and seeing what's happening in the world. I would like you to investigate the hashtag Belarus. Belarus is a country that used to be part of the former Soviet Union. Let me see if I can, let me point it out for you guys. It is right here. Belarus, it used to be part of the former Soviet Union. Part of them wants to become more European. Part of the population wants to become more Russian. Right now, there are riots that are happening, there are protests that are happening because the country looks to be going more towards the Russian sphere of influence. And many people in the world don't want to live under a government that is so oppressive and strong where you don't have personal freedoms. And so now if you investigate on Twitter what's happening in Belarus, you will see protests, you will see fighting, you will see examples of police brutality, you will see examples of tanks going down suburbs. And I want you to recognize just how powerful social media is for finding up to the moment data and information. And yeah, that'll prepare us more for the next week as well. So, all right, guys, please review everything. I'm going to post everything on the announcement soon. So just go through the questions, answer them to the best of your ability, whether in a notebook or on Google Sheets. And then, yeah, be prepared to answer some of these questions live on Friday. I'll be calling on some of you. And I just want to see that you're engaged in the material, paying attention, taking notes. And yeah, some of these questions will be on the tests as they happen throughout the year. Okay, guys, that's enough for me at the moment. Get started on the videos and the articles. All the best. Best wishes. Take care.